Hey everyone, and welcome to the Fruit and Change Show. And yes, those two things can go together. I'm living proof that we're here, but I'm not going to be talking about that in this particular video. I'm going to be talking about UV light and vitamin D. Now, I already made a video on this before, but it's such an important topic that I'm going to make another one because a lot of people out there have vitamin D deficiencies. Even people in sunny California are coming down with vitamin D deficiencies, and I think I know the reason why. It's because everybody's so scared if they go outside in the sunshine for any amount of time, they're just going to get cancers and wrinkles, even though we have been using UV light to get our vitamin D for over millions of years. And we need vitamin D for bone health, which I think a lot of people already know about. What they don't know, you need it for a strong immune system. You need it to prevent some forms of cancer, and you need it for strong muscles. You know, I wouldn't be able to deadlift over 3 times my body weight, which is like a quarter of a ton, without it. You know, it's a lot of pressure to put on the bones. Now, for those who don't know, I've been using tanning beds for over 8 years to get my vitamin D, and I do this primarily because in the Chicagoland area, for most of the year, there just isn't enough sunlight to make vitamin D, and I don't take any supplements or fortified food with vitamin D in it. Now, officially, I didn't know if this actually worked until I got a blood test last year at the end of the winter months, which I should be at the lowest with my vitamin D, and I had very robust levels of vitamin D, and here's a screenshot of that right now. As you guys can see, you want to be in the reference range of 18 to 72, and I was at a very high of 61. So I get the idea of using tanning beds for vitamin D from a professor of dermatology by the name of Dr. Michael Holick, who came out with a book called The UV Advantage, talking about the benefits of UV light. Now, to go a little bit more in depth about Dr. Michael Holick here, he's a professor of medicine, physiology, and biophysics. He's also a member of the American Academy of Dermatology and the American Association of Physicians. He's also a director of the General Clinical Research Unit and director of the Bone Health Care Clinic and the director of the Helotherapy Light and Skin Research Center at the Boston University Medical Center. He's also a diplomat of the American Board of Internal Medicine and holds a fellowship with American College of Nutrition. And he has authored over 300 peer-reviewed publications and co-authored 10 books, and he's been a recipient of numerous awards and honors in dermatology and nutrition. Now, as you can see, he's kind of a big deal in the medical and nutrition world, and I take his recommendations very seriously in the regards to UV light and vitamin D. Also, if you want to learn more straight from him, do check out the book, The UV Advantage, and I'll post a link in the description box to one of his lectures. Now, he recommends going twice a week for about half the tanning session, so you don't necessarily need to get a tan or turn into an Oompa Loompa or somebody from the Jersey Shore to get your vitamin D. Now, he recommends using low-pressure ball beds instead of high-pressure ball ones. Now, you can distinguish between the two is that the low-pressure ball beds are longer and high-pressure bulbs are shorter. So you want to go for the longer ball beds, and the reason for this is that the low-pressure bulbs emit more UVB light in them, which translates into more vitamin D. Now, there was a big report on tanning beds and UV light that came out a couple of years ago saying it's just as bad as arsenic to your skin, and this was funded by the sunblock companies trying to demonize UV light to try to sell you on more sunblock products. And in this report, they basically said there's nothing good about tanning beds, and they'll just give you cancer and wrinkles. And that they have little or no UVB light in them, so you can't even make vitamin D in them, which is completely false, looking at my vitamin D blood test results. And even my favorite nutrition researcher, Dr. Greger of nutritionfacts.org, covered this, and he got duped on this as well. And they're even thinking about putting a sin tax on this as well, on UV light. But I'd like to see them put a sin tax on the sun, which we, like I said before, we have been using for over millions of years to get our vitamin D. I'll be going into more in the depth about the politics behind this in another video. So you might be wondering, why don't I just get my vitamin D from a supplement or some kind of food? Well, when you get vitamin D from the sun or a tanning bed, your body will naturally get the right amount that it needs. Not too little and not too much, because once you make enough vitamin D from UV light, your body will naturally stop making it. Actually, to correct myself, after listening to one of Dr. Michael Holick's lectures after making this video, the body actually keeps on making vitamin D, but any of the excess is broken down by the UV light. And some of these vitamin D breakdown products may actually have some additional health benefits to them. So this might be an extra reason why you want to get your vitamin D from UV light. Also, as a bonus, getting vitamin D from UV light, it stores longer in you, so you go a month or so without it. Now, when you're getting it from a supplement, there is no bodily regulation of that vitamin D, so you might be getting too little or too much, or you could even overdose from it. And it is one of the most deadliest vitamins out there that you could overdose from. For example, a nutritionist by the name of Gary Knowles almost died from taking too much vitamin D recently. He came out with a meal replacement shake, and the manufacturer put too much vitamin D, and he and a whole bunch of other people got very sick. He had kidney issues, he was peeing blood, he had extreme fatigue, and he didn't recover from it for about a half a year later. Also, he had some kind of weird symptom where he started developing cracks on his feet, and he was bleeding from them, which, by the way, there's nothing medically that you can really do for a vitamin D overdose, so you basically just kind of have to wait it out unless you already died from it already. Now, the further researchers keep on changing the recommendations for vitamin D supplements, which I can see the why. It's because your body naturally stores vitamin D. So one day you may need less, and the other day you may need more. And then you got to worry if it's vegan or if the supplement has been contaminated with some kind of toxic substance. And also, this is a big problem with protein powders, and that's one of the reasons why I don't take this up, because no one is regulating it unless somebody dies or gets sick from it, and they're like, oh, let's do something about it. For example, Consumer Reports found out that 8 out of the 15 protein powders that they tested had high levels of lead in them, and this was a big concern for other supplements as well, including vitamin D and calcium supplements, which they did find to have some lead in them, but it wasn't over their theoretical safety limits. Now, to top it all off, and here's a scary news flash for all you supplement users out there, is that some supplements were found to have prescription medicines in them, including steroids and Viagra. As with food, well, there really isn't much food with vitamin D in it, which, by the way, there is no vitamin D in milk. They actually add that into the cow milk. Now, it's in eggs, but you would have to eat 12 egg yolks to get your vitamin D, daily vitamin D with that. But with all that saturated fat and cholesterol, you're going to have some cardiovascular issues like strokes, heart disease, and sexual performance issues. Also, it's in blood and fish liver, but if you're like me, you find that absolutely disgusting. However, I do know that Eskimos get their vitamin D this way, but they have some of the worst health statistics in the whole world. The average life expectancy for an Eskimo is like 45 years old, so you definitely don't want to go that route. Now, I know you can get it from mushrooms that have been exposed to UV light. However, you have to cook them because there's a natural toxin in them which can make you very sick. But as with supplements, you don't know if you're going to be getting too much or too little. Now, I know everybody's big concern is with wrinkles and cancer. Well, funny thing is I've been tanning for over 8 years, and I don't have any wrinkles that I know of. And sometimes I get mistaken as a high school student. I'm 33 years old. Also, in my recent blood test video, people are more amazed by my age than my actual blood work. So my big top tips for avoiding wrinkles and cancers would be, don't get burnt. You want to be sun-kissed, not sunburned. Also, you want to eat lots of fruits and vegetables that have natural sunblock in them. For example, the red pigment in watermelon and tomatoes, lycopene, has been shown to prevent sun damage by 35%. Also, there's substances in broccoli and citrus and grapes that have been shown to prevent sunburn as well. Also, eating a low-fat diet has been associated with less skin cancer. Another thing I like about tanning beds is the warmth and the light therapy of it, especially in the winter months here in Chicago. It could be very dark and cold outside, like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. It's pitch black outside. And even to add to this, there's people in Alaska who install light boxes in their house when they have that 6 months of the year where it's completely dark outside, so they don't go completely insane. So what I want you guys to take from this video is that we're meant to get our vitamin D from UV light, which we have been using for over millions of years to get our vitamin D. Actually, all life on this planet is dependent on UV light, and it is not arsenic to your skin. But if you can't get it from the sun, well, your second best option would be getting it from a tanning bed or some kind of bulb that produces UVB light. And if you can't get it from that, I guess your third option would take the risk of taking the lead contaminated vitamin D supplements and the fortified food. So share this with all your tanning and sun-phobe relatives out there. Go out, get some UV light. It is very good for you. And eat some fruits and vegetables because they have some natural sunblock in them. And also a whole bunch of other things, awesome things in them, which I'll be making more videos on. So this is another edition of Fruit and Strength. And I'll see you guys in another video. Make sure you like and subscribe because I got a lot of awesome stuff coming your way. Also, if you live in the Chicagoland area, my mom owns a hair and tanning salon, Cut and Tan in Grace Lake. So if you watch this video and you gave it a like, they'll give you a free tan, maybe a good deal on that 2 to 3 months that you really need to get some UV light in your life. Or you might even need more, like all those crazy Californians. They're hiding indoors all day long and not taking full advantage of all the sun that they're getting there. Unlike some of the Chicagoans here, they're like, oh, the sun's shining sort of, and it's 50 degrees outside. I guess it's time to wear shorts. Once again, this is Fruit and Strength, and I'll see you guys later. The last Woodstock Fruit Festival, August 16th to the 23rd, 2015. I'll see you there.